Alrighty, welcome everybody to another episode of 161st and River. And as advertised, as I promised, we were able to get on. Thank God there was an outage all day. If you have not been around, there was like an outage all day of like everything. So it was a long time getting here because both Restream, which is the platform I use to bring content to everybody, and Adobe, which is what I use for my graphics, were both down all day until like 4 o'clock. So I was scrambling once it finally came back to get everything ready. So today I'm going to be going through off-season targets for the Yankees in terms of pitching, specifically pitching. So this is in starting pitching even more specifically. So this is the current rotation projected for entering opening day, entering spring training. Now, Carlos Rodon needs to be taken off this graphic because he will not be there because of the loose bodies. So that leaves another entire space unfilled, which is bad. The Yankees already had question marks in their starting rotation heading in because Garrett Cole's coming off Tommy John, Clark Schmidt's coming off his second Tommy John, and there's really no guarantee with those. And neither one of them are going to be ready for opening day. I think none of us trust Will Warren to be a big time starter in a rotation team that has the aspirations to be going to a World Series. Right? All of us think that the Yankees' goal this offseason should be to construct a team that can go to the World Series in 2025. And in 2026. And if we're going to be putting up people in that bullpen that shouldn't be in that bullpen, then what's the point? Not in the bullpen, in the rotation. Right? So like Will Warren, he's a good piece. He's a good pitcher. I think he's going to show progress. He showed progress from one year to the next. He strikes out a lot of people, but he walks people. And he's prone to the long ball, and so he's prone to the big inning. Right? There was that game most recently against Baltimore. I was at the game where, okay, the ball didn't bounce your way, infield hit. Okay, then you fall behind and walk. Then on a 0-2 pitch, you surrender a changeup inside that leaves the yard for a 3-run home run to tie the game. Right, your team in the heat of a pennant race just gave you a 3-0 lead. Here's the updated Yankee rotation, and that just can't be something that the Yankees rely on all year. So I think you need to be looking for upgrades. As for Luis Gil, the ERA of 3.32 looks nice. If you look at the deeper numbers, he struggled a lot. He struggled with his command. He walked way too many people. He wasn't missing bats the way he was in his rookie season. And it was his rookie season. Was it a fluke? Or was it the injury? We don't know. And that can be the same for Cam Schlittler. While I think, from what I've seen from Cam Schlittler, he is the real deal, we don't know. And we won't know till next year. And that's part of the uncertainty that comes with all this. So, heading into the season, the Yankees need to get starting pitching. At least one. If they want to go to a World Series and win it, they need to get at least one elite starter. Now, I have this ranked in who I would like the most. Not who's the most realistic. Not who the Yankees I've heard are going after, because I really haven't heard much on who the Yankees are going after in the starting pitching market. And I'll check up on it throughout the week. But but these are guys that I would target if I were Brian Cashman and his team. And we're going to start with Tariq Skubal. So Skubal is in trade rumors as we speak because he is a Boris client. That's important to note. Him and the Detroit Tigers are $250 million gap in negotiations on a potential extension. The Tigers are kicking the can to be like, should we just trade him? I wrote a column that should be going out later today or tomorrow morning that details Skubal's journey now into potentially the trade market and why it would be beneficial for the Tigers to deal him. I did not put the Yankees in that article as a potential trade target, a target destination for the Tigers, because I think it's unrealistic that they ever trade him here. The Mets are in there, but I think it's completely unrealistic that the Tigers would even think to trade him to the Yankees unless Cashman really blew away the Tigers, which, crazier things have happened. But I think it's completely, that's not going to happen. But it's fun to dream. So Skubal this season with a 13-6 record, 2.21 ERA, 241 strikeouts in 195 innings, which is awesome. An opponent's batting average of 200, 18 home runs given up. That's not a ton. And some of the stats will have this and others will not. Pitches per inning, 14.6. That's very, very good. Normally the average, you like to say about 15. And obviously, Skubal being under that, that's rarely good. He was one of the best starting pitchers in Major League Baseball. He is bidding for sure for his second consecutive Cy Young. And he'd fit the rotation very, very well. Because he would be, that would bump Max Fried probably to number 2 or 3. Probably 3. Because it would be him and Cole as 1 and 2. Probably him 1 and Cole at 2. Because, you don't know what Cole coming back, and he's the reigning Cy Young. So that's probably how it would look. Now, the second one. This one's a little bit more realistic because the Yankees and the Twins front office have a very good relationship. Joe Ryan. The Boston Red Sox really, really, really like Ryan. And if he doesn't come to the Yankees, I see him going to Boston. And the Yankees should not want to face him multiple times a season. Like, at all, whatsoever. It would be in their best interest to go out there and get Joe Ryan this winter and prevent from seeing him, because no matter what, the Red Sox are going to try and get one of the starting pitchers on this list. I can guarantee it. The Red Sox and Craig Breslow has talked about that they need a starting pitcher between Crochet and Bayo. And their top choice right now is Joe Ryan. With a 13-10 record, a 3.42 ERA, which isn't awesome, but it's good. 194 strikeouts, a whip just over 1, an opponent's batting average of 218, 171 innings pitched, 26 home runs. That's a little much. And a strikeout to walk ratio of 4.97. So not bad. So Joe Ryan's certainly an option. And, you remember, he dominated. He completely, tore the Yankees apart when he was in the Bronx. His one outing that we saw him this year, he tore the Yankees apart. So getting a pitcher like Ryan would be certainly in their best interest, and he's a righty. So a lot of people are like, well, too many lefties could be a problem. I think lefties are better because most of the league struggles against lefties, but that's just me. Speaking of pitchers, I thought he was a lefty. The next one I think is Freddie Peralta. Freddie Peralta. Now, the Brewers, who just lost the NLCS and got embarrassed, are apparently going to be looking to trade Freddie Peralta. The Yankees have a good relationship with that front office. I think Freddie Peralta is a really, really good option. 17-6 record. He was dominant. One of those losses is against the Yankees, by the way. 2.70 ERA, 204 strikeouts, 1.04 whip. an opponent's batting average of 0.193. That's lower than the school ball. 21 home runs. All right, one of them's against Volpe, so take that for what it's worth. 176 innings pitched, 3.09 strikeout to walk percentage, an opponent's OPS of just above 6. Freddie Peralta would be an awesome ad because he would be right behind Fried. Right, it would probably be Cole, Fried, Peralta, Schlittler, or Rodon Schlittler. And then you find a place for Warren. Heel can probably translate to the bullpen if this were the scenario, and adding a pitcher like this, and then Schmidt you figure out when he's back. Because then this is all in theory, because then injuries do play a part in this. All right. Next pitcher. Oh, he is a righty. Sandy Alcantara. Sandy didn't have a great year this year. 11-12 with a 5.36 ERA, coming off Tommy John. Strikeouts are there, 142. The strikeout to walk ratio, 2.49. That's opponent's batting average 2.46. Now, when you look at Alcantara's numbers, first half, second half, I'm going to see if I can get them up on the screen. Sandy Alcantara's numbers in the second half, I believe, were much better. A lot of this was from the first half, when he was coming right off Tommy John, and then he started, as the season went on, to look better and better and better. And I hope that this just means that Alcantara is going to get good, because I think this is a team that a deal would be more likely to get done with. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. His ERA in the second half was 3.33. He was 7-3 in the second half. 83 innings pitched, so opposed to 9 in the first half. Home runs and 20 walks, both down from the first half. The walks were way down. Same amount of strikeouts, 71. He did hit one more batter, but I don't know if that matters. 2 less wild pitches. About less batters faced, and a much lower strikeout to walk rate, a much better strikeout to walk ratio. And his whip was much lower. Like, his whip looked like Sandy. Now, his numbers, his ERA was the lowest in August. He was 2-2. But, I mean, his ERA was only like a half a point higher in September, hovering right around that 3.7 mark. But you just see it come down from April, May, he had a really bad month. And then June, it came down by over half. July, went a little bit up a bit. August was very good. September was good. 3-1 in 4 starts. In August, he was 2-2 with 6 starts. More innings in August compared to September with a better ERA. You love that. He was much better in the second half. So if the Yankees are looking for an option that can legitimately impact them, Sandy's a really good option. He's a former Cy Young winner. He could be a one and done if it doesn't work, or they could pick up an option and he's cheap. Okay, compared to everyone else on this list, he's cheap. So if the Yankees are trying to be the payroll conservative Yankees, he's a good option for them. A really good option. So I think Sandy Alcantara's the realistic option. Wouldn't be my first. As I mentioned, it would be Skubal, then Ryan, then Peralta. But I wouldn't be mad. Next, old friend Michael King. Michael King didn't have his best season. It was riddled by injuries. So he might take a hometown deal with San Diego. He could also take a classic Scott Boras 1-year deal with the Yankees. I don't think he's a Boras client, but he could take one of those 1-year opt-out deals and come back to a place that he's familiar with. Like the Applebee's song. Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. Michael King was an awesome Yankee. Didn't want him to leave, and obviously they traded him for Soto, but that trade had to be done, and I liked Michael King, and I loved his time here. So bringing him back, I think, would be an okay thing. He's shown a lot of flashes of dominance if he's not hurt, and that's been the concern. There's been a little injury concern there. But I think King is a really, really good option for the Yankees. But he only pitched 73 innings, and he got absolutely rocked at Citi Field. And these things happen, but King was dominant in the playoffs coming out of the pen. So that also, you have to factor that in. He was dominant when it mattered the most, and they needed a win because that was an elimination game for San Diego, and he came out and he was good. So I like Michael King as an option. I don't know if I'd be going on the market saying, let's go get Michael King. Let's get him in. He's the end-all, be-all of who we should be signing. I think that would be a mistake for the Yankees. But I do think that Michael King would be a viable option for the Yankees to go sign. Next, Merrill Kelly, if it pops up. Kelly had a good year between Arizona and Texas. 12-9 with 3.52 ERA. Really good numbers. Stayed around that pitch mark. 23 home runs. Okay. Opponent's batting average of 226. That's not great, but that's not horrible. 167 strikeouts. You like that. The whip is okay. Is pretty solid. 184 innings pitched. He didn't miss many starts. That's good. I think he missed like one start because they wanted to maneuver him. Merrill Kelly is a very good option. The Yankees could have had him at the deadline. They didn't go get him, and now he's a free agent. He'd be a good option. I would like Merrill Kelly. I would be okay with Merrill Kelly. He's a solid 3. Right? He's a solid 3 in the rotation. You're going to trust that he can go out there, and he has some postseason experience. You could trust Kelly. He'd be a good option to go out there and get the job done, and he can give you a really dominant start. He can also give you a really shitty start. He's an average starting pitcher, right? He's middle of the road. He'd be a good option. He'd be a step up from Warren and Heel, but he'd be a step below the class of the starting pitching talent that's going to be on the market, like Skubal and Ryan and Peralta, right? He'd be in tier B. If we're going to break this up into tiers, I have 10 names here. We're going to have Skubal, Ryan, and Peralta in tier 1, Sandy, Alcantara, Michael King, Merrill Kelly, and my next one in tier 2. And then tier 3, we'll have the rest. So rounding out tier 2 will be Dylan Cease, Michael King's teammate down in San Diego. Dylan Cease had a horrible year for the Padres, except for one outing. The one outing where he was really dominant is the one where he was no-hitting the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. And that was the JC Escarra walk-off. So every time the Yankees were no-hit through 7 innings or something, they ended up with a walk-off, which is kind of cool. Except for the Toronto game, of course. That was fun. Dylan Cease was very not great this year. 8-12 record with a 4.55 ERA, which I believe is the highest he's had. Over 200 strikeouts, so he was missing bats. The 239 batting average is not great. He was walking a lot of people. The OPS against is a little high. Can pitch a ton of innings to have that ERA. But Cease has been really dominant in the past. Really good in the past. So take that for what it's worth. I mean, Cease has been Cy Young candidate, but then he's been this. Don't know if there was an injury involved or what have you, but Cease has shown flashes of dominance. Is this the exception year, or was this their season? Was this the rule? We don't know. Next, rounding out, starting the bottom tier, Zach Gallen. Zach Gallen's a really good starter normally. this season he was really bad. I think he dominated the Yankees early on at Yankee Stadium, which is ironic. Um, 13-15 record with a 4.83 ERA, 175 strikeouts, 1.26 WHIP, 239 batting average, 31 home runs allowed, which is a lot. 729 OPS against in 192 innings. Numbers weren't really great, but he was fantastic for them in the postseason 2 years ago. This is a gamble. Like that's my caution with this. This is a gamble. You'd only be giving up money, but the Yankees don't know how to allocate money anymore, and that's my caution with going to get Gallen. He's on the list because he's shown flashes of dominance, and he's a starting pitcher who is maybe I'll classify as a veteran because he's done it before. Like he's won a pennant before, so he's veteran-esque. So there's that. I like Gallen, kid from New Jersey. I don't think I don't think he's what the Yankees need, but he's on the list. Edward Cabrera is next. Another Marlins starter that the Yankees have had interest in. 8-7 record, a 3.53 ERA, 150 strikeouts, and 137 innings pitched. That's very good. So the strikeout rate is very good. Opponent's batting average is solid. 17 home runs is very good. Opponent's OPS under 7 is good. The numbers are very good. My thing is, if the Marlins plan on trading Alcantara, I don't think they're going to trade Edward Cabrera as well. So I don't know what the Marlins are going to do this offseason, but Cabrera is a very, very solid option. And any team that would Edward Cabrera is a middle of the road starter, right? Didn't look like, his ERA is pretty middle of the road. Like it's a good ERA and a really good strikeout to innings pitch ratio, more than a strikeout an inning, which means, for the most part, he's missing bats and he doesn't yield the long ball. He'd be a very good option. Now, the final option, only because the Nationals will probably listen on their lefty ace, Mackenzie Gore. If I were the Yankees, I'd stay far away from this. He was much better in the first half, but he was not good in the second half. A 5-15 record overall with a 4.17 ERA, more than a strikeout per inning. Opponents were hitting 252 off him. 20 home runs, not horrible, but opponent's OPS is 728. That's not good. Bottom line, he's still developing. He'd be a work in progress project, and I think the Yankees need a sure starter. Like I said, I think the Yankees need to go get either Skubal, Ryan, Peralta, or Sandy. Anyone else, it'd be like, okay, but it wouldn't be like, okay, we needed that. You go get one of those guys to fill out the rotation that looks like this already, and you take out Warren or Heel when Cole comes back, and Rodon come back. You take both of them out, add a real good starter, and then those two back. You're talking that the Yankees have the best rotation probably in the American League, barring Boston going out and doing something like incredible, and then Bale looking like a stud, and that stuff. The Yankees would have the best rotation in the American League by far. I don't even know if it would be close. That's how good I think the Yankees can be in the starting pitching. Their starting pitching is shaping up really well if Fried has another Fried-esque year, if Schlittler's really good. Now, the kids are a little bit more of an uncertainty. Like, you don't know what Warren's going to look like. He could look fantastic. He could look horrible. Heel, same thing. Heel's a very big injury risk. I don't know if if I'm Cashman and his buddies, I don't know if I'd be putting all my chips in the basket that he's going to be healthy coming to the season, if we're going to be 100% honest, which I like to keep it on here. I don't know if I put all the chips in the middle of the table that Heel's going to come to spring training healthy. I like Heel. I do, don't get me wrong. And maybe putting him in the bullpen helps refine his command and control. and can allow him to execute better because it's a shorter amount of time. But I just don't think Luis Gil's future should be in the rotation. I think they need to go get a frontline starter. And if they don't, that signifies Hal wanting to stay under the cap and not wanting to really go out. I'm going to end it there since we have about an hour and a half until Game 7 of the ALCS, and I have to start prepping for coverage of that. So thank you very much. Have a good day. Let's go Yankees. And I'll talk to you on the next episode where we'll talk about some bullpen targets because they need some bullpen targets.